So you've wanted to start a podcast for quite some time now, and you're getting pretty close to doing that, but you're trying to figure out the best time. What's the best month? What's the best time of year to launch a podcast? And if you're curious about that, you're in the right place, because in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that's all about. Literally. No, I'm just kidding. This video is not about the best time to actually start a podcast because, well, there is no perfect time to start a podcast unless you're choosing right now or yesterday. So many people get caught up in this whole idea of, well, maybe at the end of the year or the beginning of the year or when the kids go back to school after summer. Yeah, we're going to do it then. Or maybe we'll start fresh in January. Listen, friends, there is no perfect time to start a podcast. The time is now. We don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So in this video, I want to break down exactly why there is no perfect time in order to start a podcast. Let's dive in. Okay, for starters, there is no perfect time because that's a myth. It's actually an idea. Well, maybe there is a perfect time to actually do anything in this lifetime, because the reality is the most important thing we can do is actually start. Imperfect action, if you will. The whole idea around finding that perfect time. Yes, timing is everything with specific things, but most of the time when we're considering perfect timing to start something, it's just our fancy way of trying to, once again, procrastinate. So point number one in this video, there's an entire myth around perfect timing. It doesn't exist. It's simply an idea, and the time, well, is right now. Next, listen, you're never going to be ready. You're not going to wake up one day and go, you know what? I think today is the day I'm going to start that podcast. No, we have to force ourselves into action, or imperfect action, if you will. Imperfect action meaning you're just getting started. You're just grabbing the microphone, you're hitting record, and you're just doing something to see where it gets you. I think it's important to do these things because, well, when you just get started and press the button, hit record, and get into it, you start to discover, do I really even like this? I mean, do I even want to do this? So it's important to remember, you're never, ever, ever going to be ready. You're not going to just roll out of bed one day and go, today's the day that I'm launching a podcast. You have to make a decision. Starting comes from a decision. Getting started, imperfect action, getting in the game, getting off the bench, it comes from making a decision to say, I'm starting today because I said that I am. So the next time you think the perfect time is going to just hit you this coming Friday, think again. The time is right now. Did I mention that? TikTok, and I'm not talking about your favorite social media app. I'm talking about a clock that's ticking that none of us can see. You see, life and time is moving on at a rapid rate. It may seem slow some days. It may seem slow to you and fast to others, but the reality is time is moving on with or without us. And the more we put things off, the more time goes by. And eventually we're stuck in a space of, well, I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda. You know those people that are constantly talking about what they should be doing or what they could be doing or what they used to be doing? Don't be one of those people. If you really start to think, hey, hold on a second. How many Saturdays do I have left in my life if I'm lucky? If you guess. How many weekends left? How many Mondays left? If you really start to put these things into perspective, it really helps you start putting things into like clear perspective. I'm 45 years old at the time that I'm filming this video. If I'm lucky, I have another 45, maybe 40 years on this planet. That means I've got, well, I haven't counted up the Saturdays, but it's terrifying to even consider. But it's also very motivating, and it's a huge driver in my life to not put things off for tomorrow. Searching for the right time. No. We're going to say the right time is right now, right here, right now, and we're going to figure it out and see what shows up from there. You just don't know what's available and what's possible by starting right now, by pushing aside, where can I find this perfect timing at, and saying, I'm doing it right now. The clock is ticking, and I am going to move with the clock, and we're going to get started with this right now and see what shows up. Next thing I want to talk to you about is your excuses. Have you really stopped to think about all the excuses that you make? I don't stop as frequently as I'd like to realize how many lies that I tell myself about what I'm going to do. Lies meaning the excuses. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start next week, instead of just actually saying, I'm going to get started and I'm doing it right now. So I want you to evaluate on a daily basis how many times you make excuses to not actually start something, and be with the reasoning, if you will, air quotes, reasoning behind why you're not actually getting started. When we start to tell ourselves the truth and realize, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm feeding myself a few lines of BS and excuses, and that's the reason I'm not getting started. Once that starts to show up for you, sometimes we start to think a little differently. So evaluate your excuses on why you haven't actually gotten started in the first place. Who's missing out because you haven't gotten started yet? I talk about that a lot. You may have heard me say it before here on the channel. I say it a lot in my talks. Who's missing out because you're not showing up? Evaluate your excuses and see if they're serving you. Chances are they're not. The goal of this video was to help you see things through a different lens. I want you to view how you're showing up and procrastinating. I had a friend say one time in a talk that he gave, and I never forgot it, procrastination is a form of depression. I was like, what? I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to procrastinate. Understand that the time to hit the record button is right now. Find out if you actually enjoy and like the process, and can you get excited about it? Do you even want to stick with it? Just remember, when we put things on hold and we don't get started and we don't do the thing, someone misses out, including ourselves, including the people that are closest to us, that we do business with, our friends, our family, our loved ones, all of the people that we don't know, people on the internet. So think about that. Next time you want to be excuse-driven, the next time you want to consider what the perfect time to start anything is. In this example I'm using, obviously, I'm using podcasting as an excuse. There's no perfect time to start a podcast. The time to hit that record button is right now. Go. Do it. Stop watching this video. Well, I hope you're leaving this video knowing at least one or two things that you did not know about the perfect time to start a podcast, or the lack thereof, because there is no perfect time. I hope that plane has landed for you in this video. Any questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns about this video or any video on the channel, please comment below. I do respond to each and every one of you lovely people. Until next time.